You know, when you get really harried and things are just going crazy, here are 10 ways successful people stay calm. The ability to remain calm under pressure is a massive predictor of success. In this article, originally posted on LinkPulse, here's 10 strategies you can start using today. The ability to manage your emotions and remain calm under pressure has a direct link to your performance. At TalentSmart, we have conducted research with more than 1 million people and found that 90% of top performers are skilled at managing their emotions in times of stress in order to remain calm and in control. That's 90%. There's some startling research that explores the havoc stress can wreak on one's physical and mental health, such as this Yale study, which found that prolonged stress causes degeneration in the area of brain responsible for self-control. The tricky thing about stress and the anxiety that comes with it is that it's absolutely necessary. It's an absolute necessary emotion. Our brains are wired such that it's difficult to take action until we feel at least some level of this emotional state. In fact, performance peaks under the heightened activation that comes with moderate levels of stress. As long as the stress isn't prolonged, it's harmless. Research from the University of California at Berkeley reveals an upside to experiencing moderate levels of stress, but it also reinforces how important it is to keep stress under control. The study led by postdoctoral fellow Elizabeth Kirby found that the onset of stress entices the brain into growing new cells responsible for improved memory. However, this effect is only seen when stress is intermittent. As soon as the stress continues beyond a few moments into a prolonged state, it suppresses the brain's ability to develop new cells. I think the intermittent stressful events are probably what keeps the brain more alert, and you perform better when you are alert, Kirby says. For animals, intermittent stress is a bulk of what they experience in the form of physical threats in their immediate environment. Long ago, this was also the case for humans. As the human brain evolved and increased in complexity, we've developed the ability to worry. By the way, worrying is like praying for what you don't want. And perseverate, I don't even know what that word is, perseverate on events, which can create frequent experiences or prolonged stress. Besides increasing your risk of heart disease, depression, obesity, stress decreases your cognitive performance, your ability to think. Fortunately, though, unless a lion's chasing you, the bulk of your stress is subjective and under your control. Top performers have well-honed coping strategies that they employ under stressful circumstances. This lowers their stress levels regardless of what's happening in their environment, and ensuring the stress they experience is intermittent and not prolonged. You know, all really successful athletes, quarterbacks, golfers, you know, anybody that's in a stressful situation playing in a competitive environment, the ones that ultimately succeed are the ones that learn how to handle that stress and to not let it overtake them. So I've run across numerous effective strategies that successful people employ when they're faced with stress. What follows are 10 of the best. Some of these strategies may seem obvious, but the real challenge lies in recognizing when you need to use them and having the wherewithal to actually do so in spite of your stress. Number one, they appreciate what they have. Taking time to contemplate what you're grateful for isn't merely the right thing to do, it also improves your mood because it reduces the stress hormone cortisol by 23%. Research conducted at the University of California, Davis found that people who work daily to cultivate an attitude of gratitude experience improved mood, energy, and physical well-being. It's likely that lower levels of cortisol played a major role in this. Number two, they avoid asking what if. What if statements throw fuel on the fire of stress and worry. Things can go in a million different directions, and the more time you spend worrying about the possibilities, the less time you spend focusing on taking action that will calm you down and keep your stress under control. Calm people know that asking what if will only take them to the place they don't want or need to go. 3, they stay positive. Positive thoughts help make stress intermittent by focusing your brain's attention onto something that's completely stress-free. You have to give your wandering brain, your monkey mind, a little help by consciously selecting something positive to think about. Any positive thought will do to refocus your attention. When things are going well and your mood is good, this is relatively easy. When things are going poorly and you're in a stressful situation and your mind is flooded with negative thoughts, this can be a challenge. In these moments, think about your day, identify one positive thing that happened, no matter how small it is. If you can't think of something from the current day, reflect on the previous day or even the previous week. Or perhaps you're looking forward to an exciting event that you can focus your attention on. The point here is that you must have something positive that you're ready to shift your attention to when your thoughts turn negative. Number 4, they disconnect. Given the importance of keeping stress intermittent, it's easy to see how taking regular time off the grid can help you keep your stress under control. When you make yourself available to your work 24/7, you expose yourself to a constant barrage of stressors. Forcing yourself offline and even turning off your phone gives your body a break from a constant source of stress. Studies have shown that something as simple as an email break can lower stress levels. Technology enables constant communication, the expectation that you should be available 24/7. It's extremely difficult to enjoy a stress-free moment outside of work when an email that will change your train of thought and get you thinking, stressing about work can drop into your phone at any moment. If detaching yourself from work-related communication on weekday evenings is too big a challenge, then how about the weekend? Choose blocks of time where you can cut the cord and go offline. You'll be amazed at how refreshing these breaks are and how they reduce stress by putting a mental recharge into your weekly schedule. If you're worried about the negative repercussions of taking this step, first try to do it at times when you're unlikely to be contacted, maybe Sunday morning, and grow more comfortable with it. As your coworkers begin to accept the time you spend offline, gradually expand the amount of time you spend away from technology. 5, they limit their caffeine intake. Drinking caffeine triggers the release of adrenaline. Adrenaline is a source of the fight or flight response, a survival mechanism that forces you to stand up and fight or run for the hills when faced with a threat. The fight or flight mechanism sidesteps rational thinking in favor of a faster response. This is great when a bear is chasing you, but not so great when you're responding to a curt email. When caffeine puts your brain and body into this hyper-aroused state of stress, your emotions overrun your behavior. The stress that caffeine creates is far from intermittent, as its long half-life ensures that it takes its sweet time working its way out of your body. They sleep. I've beaten this one to death over the years and can't say enough about the importance of sleep to increasing your emotional intelligence and managing your stress levels. When you sleep, your brain literally recharges, shuffling through the day's memories and storing or discarding, which causes dreams, so that you wake up alert and clear-headed. Your self-control, attention, memory are all reduced when you don't get enough or the right kind of sleep. Sleep deprivation raises stress hormone levels on its own, even without a stressor present. Stress projects often make you feel as if you have no time to sleep, but taking the time to get a decent night's sleep is often the one thing keeping you from getting things under control. Number 7, they squash negative self-talk. This is a big one, folks. And a big step in managing stress involves stopping the negative self-talk in its tracks. The more you ruminate on negative thoughts, the more power you give them. Most of our negative thoughts are just that, thoughts. They're not facts. When you find yourself believing the negative and pessimistic things your inner voice says, it's time to stop and write them down. Literally stop what you're doing, write down what you're thinking. Once you've taken a moment to slow down the negative momentum of your thoughts, you'll be more rational and clear-headed in evaluating the veracity. You can bet that your statements aren't true anytime you use the words like never, it's worst ever, etc. If your statements still look like facts once they're on paper, take them to a friend or colleague you trust and see if he or she agrees with you. Then truth will surely come out. When it feels like something always or never happens, this is just your brain's natural threat tendency inflating the perceived frequency or severity of an event. Identifying and labeling your thoughts as thoughts by separating them from the facts will help you escape the cycle of negativity and move toward a positive new outlook. 8, they reframe their perspective. This is one thing I always did when I had a negative thought. I reframed my perspective. Stress and worry are fueled by our own skewed perception of events. It's easy to think that unrealistic deadlines, unforgiving bosses, out-of-control traffic are the reasons why you're stressed all the time. You can't control your circumstances, but you can control how you respond to them. So before you spend too much time dwelling on something, take a minute to put the situation in perspective. If you aren't sure when you need to do this, try looking for clues that your anxiety may not be proportional to the stressor. If you're thinking in broad sweeping statements such as everything's going wrong or nothing will work out, then you need to reframe the situation. A great way to correct this unproductive thought pattern is to list the specific things that are going wrong or not working out. Most likely come up with just some things, not everything, and the scope of these stresses will look much more limited than initially appeared. In fact, what I would do is I would just reframe it. If I thought, oh, they're not going to want to meet with me, of course they're going to want to meet with me because I'm going to show them something that's going to help them improve their life dramatically. And after our meeting's over, they're going to be grateful, and they're going to be thanking me for coming to talk to them. So that's how I would do it. I would just reframe the thought. Instead of thinking somebody didn't want to see me or didn't want to hear from me or whatever, I would reframe the thought in my mind, and then I would make the call or make the contact. Number 9, they breathe. The easiest way to make stress intermittent lies in something that you have to do every day anyway, breathing. The practice of being in a moment with your breathing will begin to train your brain to focus solely on the task at hand and get the stress monkey off your back. When you're feeling stressed, take a couple of minutes to focus on your breathing. Close the door, put away all other distractions, and just sit in a chair and breathe. The goal is to spend the entire time focused only on your breathing, which will prevent your mind from wandering. Think about how it feels to breathe in and out. This sounds simple, but it's hard to do for more than a minute or two. It's all right if you get sidetracked by another thought. This is sure to happen at the beginning, and you just need to bring your focus back to your breathing. If staying focused on your breathing proves to be a real struggle, try counting each breath in and out until you get to 20. Then start again from 1. Don't worry if you lose count. You can always just start over. This task may seem too easy or even a little silly, but you'll be surprised how calm you'll feel afterward and how much easier it is to let go of distracting thoughts that otherwise seem to have lodged permanently inside your brain. And it works even better if you start like 20, 19, 18, and you go backwards because you really have to concentrate, and it gets you out of your mind. It gets you to stop thinking. It's really a form of meditation, which all of us should be doing. Number 10, finally, they use their support system. It's tempting yet entirely ineffective to attempt tackling everything by yourself. To be calm and productive, you need to recognize your weaknesses and ask for help when you need it. This means tapping into your support system when a situation is challenging enough for you to feel overwhelmed. Everyone has someone at work or outside work who is on their team, or a mentor maybe, or a coach, rooting for them and ready to help them get the best from a difficult situation. Identify these individuals in your life and make an effort to seek their insight and assistance when you need it. Something as simple as talking about your worries will provide an outlet for anxiety and stress and supply you with a new perspective on the situation. Most of the time, other people can see a solution that you can't because you are not as emotionally invested in the situation, because they are not as emotionally invested in the situation. Asking for help will mitigate your stress and strengthen your relationships with those you rely upon.